It's strange how a reality TV show can actually help you get real about your own life. Sometimes it helps you to reflect on mistakes you've made, even instigate change. This last episode of The Bachelorette had a surprisingly profound impact on me, especially surprising because it wasn't my favorite season. But I really understood Desiree's struggle. I felt her pain. I related to her desire to have an intense, intoxicating chemistry with a guy. I'm a romantic too, hopelessly so. I believe in the fairy tale, but sometimes we're led astray, and that can happen because of lots of different reasons. It can happen because of bad people, bad intentions, ulterior motives, the desire to do the right thing, or what makes sense. It can also happen because of our own fantasies, and that's when it's tough. And that happened to Desiree a lot, and it's also happened to me. So I have extracted 10 lessons from this last episode, and they're lessons in love and lessons about myself. So you probably have extracted different things, and I'd love to know what those are. I think that oftentimes we see what we're supposed to. We find the lessons that we need. So these are some of mine. So the first is that while love can sometimes be blind, chemistry can be blinding. Chemistry is a drug. It's not just like a drug, but it actually is a drug. It's been studied and shown that chemistry has a very similar effect on the brain as drugs do. It makes it so that you really don't see anything else. You're clouded. You can't focus. You don't care about anything else. You're just so zeroed in on this feeling, and you need more of it, and you'll do anything you can to have it. 2, sometimes it's more about the chase. But I don't mean that in that it's just fun to chase and fun to win. It's actually the adrenaline that a lot of us love. That adrenaline of those first getting to know each other dates. And those butterflies can actually carry you away. Number 3, intense attraction can feel like love, but it can also be very shallow because you haven't had the opportunity to develop love yet. You just have this attraction, and that's it. And it's so huge and overpowering and overwhelming, and you can't think of anything but this person that you think you are in love. But you're not. You're just very, very attracted. Number 4, rushing in can create an intense attraction, like that fake feeling of love that isn't. But scratch the surface, and you'll see that it actually hasn't developed roots yet. It's like nail polish. You know, it's bright and shiny on the surface, and it might even be a little bit thick, but as soon as you scratch underneath there, well, there's nothing there. It's not deep. It might not even be true. Number 5, wanting something so badly can be like running a race with blinders on. When you want something, it's easy to overlook the reality of your feelings because all you see is what you want to see. Sometimes you have to check in with your feelings, and you have to think, is my head ahead of my heart? Do I want this so bad that I think I feel, but I actually don't feel? And that's yet another thing that happens when you rush in. You rush in and everything seems so great at the beginning. You're on track, but it actually isn't substantive. Number 6, being purpose-driven with your eye and energy on the prize can actually create illusions, mirages. It's like being in a desert and being positive that there's water, but it's not. You feel like you are in love, but you're actually in love with the potential of the outcome of love. You have found a vehicle to get what you want, and that's exciting. And that's about it. So you feel like, oh, I found it, this is it, and it's not. Number 7, When all you think about is the future, it makes it really hard to actually be in the moment because you're thinking about what's next. So how do you enjoy and luxuriate in the now? How are you present? How do you pick up on the little nuances of the relationship? How do you pick up on the possible red flags? How do you pick up on your connection, your conversation, the things that actually matter in the relationship? Because all you're looking at is the future. Same thing with looking at the past. If all you're looking at is back then and analyzing how you were then, you can't focus on how you are now. If you're still stuck in the past, analyze the past, extract the lessons that you needed to learn, and then be ready to be present now so that you can start to live your future. Number 8, when it comes to forever, it's not, can I picture myself with him? It's, can I picture myself without him? And that might sound extreme or harsh, but that's what it is. It's not, can I make this make sense? I think a lot of times we rationalize relationships. We almost convince ourselves that it's right. And it isn't, actually. It's, yeah, this seems right, or yeah, I can see myself spending a life with them. Do you actually want to be together? Or can you not be together? And that is something that is really easy to do. I know I rationalize too much instead of feeling. Number 9, with tears comes truth. I have been told many times that no real change happens without tears or bloodshed, and it's true. But beyond that, with tears comes the truth. Sometimes you have to really face yourself and be honest with who you are and who you've been and where you are today. You have to drop that ego and finally allow yourself to cry about mistakes that you've made and things that you regret and things that you're ashamed of. Because when you finally drop that ego and you allow yourself to feel and cry, your words of truth start streaming out too. And that's when you realize, I've made some mistakes and now I'm being honest with myself and everyone else. And you realize that you have to change because it hurts too badly not to. And I've done that. I have not cried. I have been in relationships with people who are upset because I refuse to cry. And I think it's because I'm being strong. But really, I'm not feeling. And I'm not being honest with myself. I've broken up relationships and not cried about it. And it was because I didn't feel. I had already shut myself down. I barricaded my heart and I couldn't. I was so disconnected with myself that I was not, I wasn't even living in reality. And when I finally just stopped and felt and cried, that's when the truth came out. So, with tears comes truth. Number 10, fantasy isn't reality. Sometimes you're so stuck in the facade that it appears to be everything you want, but it's not substantive. It's a facade. It's a movie set. It's what you wanted it to be. It's what you created because you wanted it so badly. And you get stuck in this fog of fantasy. And maybe it's this fog of chemistry or this fog of attraction, but you're stuck. Your head is stuck in this cloud. And because of that, you can't see. And you can only get out of that once you decide either because you're forced to, because they leave you, like what happened with Desiree and Brooks, or because you make the decision to move on and to finally be clear. And once you get out of the fog and you take a beat and you allow that fog to go away completely and you detox and the ice melts around your heart or whatever it is that was keeping you there. For me, it was that I needed to get out of the fog and the ice needed to melt around my heart. And when you finally do that, you just might see that the person you were looking for all along, that your Prince Charming, the real fantasy, has been right next to you all along, but you couldn't see because your head was stuck in the clouds. And now you can see, and life is actually so much better and richer than fantasy. So those are my 10 takeaways from the last episode of The Bachelorette. And just 10 takeaways that I think I really needed to take away. Sometimes it's hard to be honest with yourself. Whatever it is that pushes you to see, whatever it is that finally enlightens you, if it's a TV show, if it's a conversation with someone, if it's sitting down with your journal and writing and really being true, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's a therapist, whatever it is, what's important is that you finally are honest with yourself and that you finally see, because you deserve to be happy. And if you're not, make some change so that you can be. Stop torturing yourself. Because being stuck in the past, or in the future, or in a fantasy, or in a fog, is torturing yourself. So let me know what you got out of this episode, and if anything I said rings true to you too.